I love Bennett Foddy's games, man. I've never finished one of them, and I got pretty far in getting over it, but I never did finish it. But the concept of the game Baby Steps instantly appealed to me. I did not even realize it was out. I just realized the other day that it was out when I saw it on sale, and I went, oh, well, I'm definitely picking that up. So today we're talking about Baby Steps and how it relates to game development, which it relates to game development in a lot of ways. This is Game Develop Repeat. I'm your host, Chris, and as always, thank you for joining me. Baby Steps is a game about learning how to walk. And it is made by a guy who loves making games with intentionally difficult controls. So, the pitch for this game, I'm going to give you the lore just a little bit without spoiling anything. You are a dude who lives with his parents in their basement, who just sits in front of the TV, eats pizza that your parents bring to you, watches just whatever all day, plays games, doesn't get up, doesn't do anything. And you get teleported out into the wilderness and you have to walk, I guess, up this mountain, climb a little bit, right? And you don't even know how to walk at the beginning of the game. Right? As the player, you got to figure out how to walk. I mean, it tells you, right? But the controls are exceptionally difficult, just like any other game made by Bennett Foddy. Good luck with the controls, right? And this game executes on something that I think the other games he's made do a little differently. The difficulty curve feels just a little better to me. And I'm not saying that the game is easy. I'm saying that the difficulty curve feels right. A lot of Bennett Foddy games have a cliff, just an absolutely insane cliff that has moments that remain insane. Just like moment after moment of like, this is impossible. There's no way I'm ever figuring this out. And they beg you to quit playing the game. They try very hard to force you to stop playing. This game does that, but it has enough humor, it has enough goofiness, and it has just enough like, come on, man, you gotta walk up this mountain, right? There's like just enough feeling of it. It's like, okay, I need to figure this out. I need to get there. That you might find yourself invested. You might find yourself going, okay, we're gonna keep working after this. And the difficulty curve feels just a little more lenient, just a little more rewarding. In fact, it's oddly open world, so you don't get stuck on one challenge. You can keep challenging yourself in different ways if you want to. You can explore a little bit. And you can quickly, relatively quickly, go from I cannot take steps on flat ground to I can move consistently. I can take a step, then another, then another, then another. And then there's a tree branch or something, some minor obstacle, and it just takes you out, right? It is really nice. It adds these little micro challenges where it goes, oh, you do need to learn how to control your walking a little better. You can't just take it for granted that you can just go step after step. You got to pay attention to your environment. You got to adjust in very minor ways to make sure you don't fall down. Maybe you got to take a second. Do you want to take a second, though? We want to progress quickly, don't we? So you have to balance this. It's literally balancing. You have to do this balancing act of walking a little bit faster versus falling over. How frustrating is this fall going to be? How many risks can you take in this moment? Do you want to just go for it right now? Is it low stakes enough that you can just go for it and not lose all your progress? Or is this a situation where you really need to like take your time and do it carefully? Of course, sometimes you take your time and do it carefully and that screws you and then you fall down. And all of this, all of these moments where you climb up and up and up and up, and then, whoops, back to the beginning. They all create a very satisfying metaphor, for me at least. A very satisfying metaphor that is easy to connect to in terms of creative process and in terms of really learning difficult skills. That is the stronger metaphor for me. It's oh man, sometimes a skill is really hard to learn, and this is kind of how that feels. That's impressive to me. That's really, really good game design to me. Right before recording this episode, well, not right before, because I did a couple things in between this and what I'm about to talk about, but right before recording this episode, I jumped into this game and played a little bit and climbed my way up, and I did a pretty good job. I got to an obstacle where I went, okay, I know how to handle this. I'll get past this. And I step over something, mess up, fall down, right back to where I started. And I go, man, that was like 15 minutes. Hey, but it made me laugh because it was exactly, it was so emblematic of the way that this game is. It was such a, that's how the game is. This was a perfect thing to happen right before I record an episode about it. You work real hard, you make a lot of progress, you fall back to the beginning. And then you start working at it again, you get there quicker, usually. But sometimes you just run into an obstacle that's just hard again, that you never really figured out how to do, and now it's hard again and again and again. And sometimes it's just always difficult. Anyway, now we're going to talk about game development. Not that that's related to this, but, it just might be. I'm not going to tell you that making games or really learning any art form is as hard as playing a game by Bennett Foddy, because it's not. It's harder. It's just that the difficulty is spread out in a different way, and the difficulty curve may not hit you as hard right at the beginning. And when it does hit you, it's going to hit you in a different way. It's going to be really easy to just walk away from it. Actually, that's pretty similar to the game now that I think about it. There are going to be a lot of moments when you're learning to create something. There are going to be a lot of moments when you're learning a difficult new skill, when you just feel like you fell down the entire mountain. You didn't. You can climb right back to where you were. But boy, does it feel like it. There are a lot of times when you draw something and it's better than anything you ever drew 4 years ago. And you look at it and you go, it's like I've learned absolutely nothing, right? Even though you've learned so much and you are getting so much better, in that moment, it feels like you are back at the beginning of the game. It feels like you have done nothing. It feels like you have accomplished nothing. You look at it and you go, I'm terrible. What was the point of all this time that I spent, blah, blah, blah. But you're learning how to dodge all those little twigs and branches, and if you could actually roll back time and look at the first steps that you took, you would see yourself falling flat on your face without even raising a leg. You would see yourself just going flop straight into the mud. And that's learning a skill. That's learning to create something. And it's learning any skill, really. And we get these expectations and we get in our own heads about it and so on. But the fact of the matter is, it's going to feel like you're restarting a lot. You're not. But you're going to start a project and you're going to get to a certain point in it and you're going to go, oh, my God, I have to redo all this stuff. Or, oh, I have to build off of this bad foundation. Oh, I may have to just reset the whole thing. No, I don't have to. I'm going to do this, that, the other. And sometimes you actually have to. And when you actually have to, like if you're writing a novel, I love using writing a novel example because it's so straightforward in a way. If you're writing a novel and you lose everything, right? Your hard drive gets wiped. Goodbye. No more novel. See you later. You're going to rewrite it and it's going to be better. You know? if you were really working on this thing, like you're going to go, oh, I lost all of my work. I put so much into that and now it's all gone. And depending on where you're at, that might be enough to end the project. And that's fair, right? But if this is a situation where you can go back in on it and you're still excited about the project and you can look at it and go, all right, well, second draft, let's go. Then here we go. Start from the beginning. Get after that foundation. Do the things that you wished you had done and make it better than it was ever going to be. This is the thing that you never really lose. When you work on something, you learn something from it. You may forget those lessons, but they're going to come back easier next time. You may lose track of everything you've learned, but it's still there. If your project falls apart, if you have to ditch a project, if you move on to an entirely different skill, whatever it is, you got something from it, right? Even if it's just a little bit of joy that carries over, even if it's a lesson about how you enjoy creating things. Well, there you go. And that is part of the metaphor of baby steps for me. I know I'm drawing a lot from this weird little goofy game about a guy learning to walk in his 30s, but it's kind of what we're all doing, man. You know, we're learning this thing, and it's uncomfortable and embarrassing and kind of pathetic in a lot of ways when you're learning a new skill late in life. It hurts. It sucks. It's the moments where it hits your pride, right? You're like, oh, I'm gonna learn a musical instrument, and you're looking around and you're like, there are 12-year-olds who can play live performances on this instrument, and I can't play hot cross buns. You're making a game, and then you're playing your favorite games, and you're going, what the heck is going on here? And you just can't, you can't do too much of that. It's a thing, sure. But the reality is, you're walking up the mountain. And before you started walking up the mountain, you were sitting in your room watching One Piece. But now you're walking up the mountain. And sometimes you might take a little break and watch some One Piece. Sorry, I'm picking on One Piece. Naruto, because that's one that I actually watched, and I did like it. Sometimes you might take a break, watch some Naruto, and then you might have a moment when you're watching it. You might go, that Rock Lee guy is onto something. I should go work on my game. Not I should. I want to. This guy rules. He's working on stuff because he wants to be a certain version of himself, even though it seems impossible. I'm sorry, now I'm going to just start talking about Rock Lee if I'm not careful. The point I'm making is, it's easy to ignore the part of you that, keep in mind, a lot of this podcast is me talking to myself about this. This may not apply to you at all, but it's easy for me to ignore the part of me that is going, man, this is pathetic. I'm so bad at this thing. I should be better at this. I should be whatever. It's easy for me to kind of ignore that voice, to not actually deal with it, but to just put it in the back of my head where it can have a weird influence, where I'm not paying attention to it, but it keeps putting its hand on the steering wheel and moving it around. And I'm ignoring it, so I'm going, why is the steering wheel moving around? Why am I not willing to work on this thing or that thing or the other thing? Because there's this little voice in my head going, it's not worth it. You're not going to get good at this. Look at how bad at this you are. Oh, my God. What a long journey we have to the top of this mountain. And, that's rough. But you can't worry about the top of the mountain. You got to worry about the little baby steps. You gotta worry about getting past this twig right in front of you that's really screwing you up. And if somebody else walks by and just hops over the twig, you gotta go, all right, man. I'm working on it. I'll learn. I'll get there. I'll figure it out. But for now, I got to figure it out. This is something that always gets to me. And I don't know exactly how to express this, but I feel like it's extremely important. So I'm going to try, and bear with me if it's messy. There's a way that you can respond to somebody being better than you at something that I find very fun and very amusing, which is, yeah, I would do that too if I was as good at it as you are, right? Like, if you're playing Smash Brothers with a friend and they beat you and they're like rubbing it in your face a little bit, you can be like, yeah, you're better than me at it. And it's just such a like raw, like, yeah, exactly. And it's not that that is a good thing or a bad thing. This is the part that's hard to convey. It's not that them being better than you really matters. It's just that's why they beat you. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody is getting results that you're not getting, you can look at it and you can do this whole elaborate thing and you can be like, oh, I'll never be like this. I'll never be like that. I'll never this, that, the other. How are they so good at this? How are they so good at that? I wish I could be like this. I wish I could be like that. You can get in your head and do a whole freaking thing. But the reality of it is they're just better than you at the thing. You know, the difference between me and oh, this is going to sound like an ego trip if I use a video game comparison. I'm going to, you know what? Instead of saying me, I'm going to say you. The difference between you and Eric Baroni, creator of Stardew Valley, is that he is better than you at creating Stardew Valley, at creating that game. The difference between you and the creator of whatever solo developed game that you love, the difference between you and the creators of Celeste, the difference between you and the musician behind oh boy, what game do we want to go with? You know what? Nobuo Uematsu. We're gonna go with the difference between you and Nobuo Uematsu is that he is better at composing than you are, and better at a whole bunch of other sub skills within that. Now here's the important part. That's all it is. That's it. That's the whole deal. He's better at that than you. So it's a skill. You can get better at it. Now, there's a lot that goes into getting better at it, and there's a whole thing about getting to that level, and do you want to compete with somebody? I don't really think that that's the right motivation for creative work. But the underlying message here is like, if you're bad at something, it's just because you're not good at it yet. That's all it is. That's the whole thing. You're not good at it yet. And it might be particularly difficult for you to get good at it. Maybe because of the mindset that you're approaching it with. Maybe because of the tools that you have. Maybe because there's some stuff in your way that you need to take care of. Maybe, and this is one that I would argue with for a very long time. This is one that I very strongly disagree with, but it's a mindset that people have. Maybe there is something about you that keeps you from being good at the thing. Maybe you are inherently unable, to get good at that particular thing or to reach a certain level of that thing. Here's my counter to that. It may be impossible for you to become the best in the world at some particular thing, but I think it is possible for anybody, barring very specific extreme disabilities and things that make it genuinely impossible that you would be extremely aware of. I think it is very possible for the average person to become exceptionally good at pretty much any skill. I'm talking top 1%. You can be better than the vast majority of people at whatever the thing is. Does that mean that it's going to be easy? No. Does it mean that it's going to be efficient? No. Does it mean that you're not going to have a harder time than other people? No. There are going to be things that are really hard for you to recognize are standing in your way, right? There are going to be little tiny lessons that you just haven't picked up on, ways of thinking, ways of understanding specific words even. Like little subtext, little details that are fundamental that you have missed somehow. The example that I think of with this is something from my childhood, where I did not understand what an equals sign actually meant in math, right? I was thinking of an equal sign in math almost actually the way that we use an equal sign in programming, as an assignment operator, right? I was thinking of an equal sign, not quite as an assignment operator, but I was thinking of it as something other than equivalency. I was thinking of it as this is what is on the left side, and you have an equal sign, and then there you go, that's what's on the right side. 2 plus 2, that gives you 4. I did not think 4 is equal to 2 and 2 put together, which means that you can subtract 2 from one side of it, and then you subtract 2 from the other side, and now it's equal and it's still balanced. You can multiply both sides by whatever, and it's still equal and balanced. I didn't know that the equal sign meant equal. And I think that in the same way that I missed that, I am missing things in other fields that other people just understand. I have a friend who is exceptionally good, to me, in my mind, exceptionally good at rotating objects in his head, right? He can visualize and rotate objects very easily. I work around a lot of people that are pretty good at visualizing things. And it has been solace to me. It has been a great solace to me to look at them and go, well, they're just better at that than I am right now. They're just better than me at that for now, currently. And I've seen myself get a little better at it, right? Just from practice, just from working on this stuff. And there was a phase where I wanted to believe that, my friend is just naturally better at this. And it's like, well, he had more practice with it in his childhood. He played with Legos more than I did. He did some skateboarding, right? He did more art than I did. I did more music stuff. He did more art stuff, right? He had done some physical construction type work before getting into this career. I had not. And now that I've been working in this career for a little bit, it's coming to me. I'm starting to be able to visualize objects more clearly. I'm starting to be able to rotate things in my head because it's a skill. And how did I get to this from talking about baby steps? Oh, you don't get that skill out of nowhere. You don't go from 0 to 100. You take little steps. You don't go from being unable to take a couple steps forward on flat ground to being able to climb a mountain without falling down a whole bunch while trying to walk on flat ground. And if you're walking on the flat ground, you're going to have this overwhelming feeling of, I'm never getting up that mountain, dude. This is insane. This is terrible. And then you figure out how to walk on flat ground. And then you go, oh, okay, well, I'm never figuring out how to get over these rocks. Oh, this is insane. This is terrible. And you get over the rocks and you fall back to the beginning of the mountain. And you're at the very beginning of everything. And you go, I got to walk through all this flat ground again. Jesus, come on. And then you do it and it's fine. And you're like, it's going to take me forever. But you already did it. You already learned the skill. The first time it took you half an hour. This time it takes you 5 minutes. And you're like, yeah, but it was so hard to climb up those rocks. And now I got to climb up those rocks again. The first time you did it, it took you 20 minutes. This time it takes you 1 minute because climbing up the rocks is not that bad. The walking is the long part. And then you get to the rocks and you just climb up the rocks. And eventually you get to the point where you're getting halfway up the mountain. You fall all the way down. And you go, oh, man, I just got to trudge through this stuff again. Okay, oops, fell down. All right, whatever. I guess I haven't learned anything. All right, back to the top. You're like, I fell down too many times. I fell down like 4 times on my way up here. It's like the first time you got up here, you fell down thousands of times. So, yeah, you're kind of crushing it. it's the same way with learning a skill. Sorry, my teacher is coming out big time. You can learn skills. Just worry about the steps you're on right now. You know? And if it's this whole thing about I need to make this game, I want to finish this whole project, I want to do this whole thing, just enjoy the suffering of getting up this part of the mountain. Enjoy the suffering of walking on flat ground and just notice it and pay attention to it and figure out how to walk on that flat ground, because you're going to be doing a lot of it. Figure out those basic things, and they're going to help you with the harder things. Figure out how to brainstorm your game idea. I don't know what to make, or I know what to make, but I don't know how to start. Figure out how to start. Practice starting. Figure out whatever that thing is that's currently making you fall down over and over again. And it could be a weird skill. You might not know what an equal sign is. You might not know what kind of game you want to make or something. You might not know what it is about an RPG that appeals to you, or what makes it fun, or what makes a platformer enjoyable, or what the heck it is that you like about a game. You may not have a real deep understanding of that. But if you play around with it long enough, you'll at least get this instinctual felt understanding, and you'll develop some skills, and it'll be good. Because the only difference between you and the guy who's absolutely crushing it in the ways that you wish that you were is that person is better at it. And you can get better at it. We've got control over that all day. That's easy. It just, I don't know about easy, but it just takes a while, and it's pretty embarrassing, and it's kind of frustrating. But you can do it. Just, don't worry about getting to the top of the mountain. Focus on what's right in front of you, and then every once in a while glance up there and go, oh, geez, okay, let's look at what's in front of me again. It'll be good. Here's your question for this week. What skill do you have now that used to seem completely impossible to you? That's it. That's the whole question. I've also got a note for you guys. I do not track the reviews that I get on the podcast. I kind of try not to pay attention to my weekly listens because it gets in my head a little bit. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why people are or are not listening to specific episodes and all this stuff. And it's not worth digging into. But I get an email every week about it, and I glance at it real quick, and I go, okay. But I happened to see how many Spotify reviews I have, and I just wanted to say thank you. I've got 30 reviews on Spotify right now. That's so sweet. Thank you. I saw it, and I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. I don't know what the word for it is. It's just so 30 people have reviewed the podcast, and it's I don't know. It made me feel happy. Sometimes when something makes me feel happy, I just call it cute. It's not meant to sound condescending. I'm grateful for the 30 reviews. And it's very sweet. It just made me go, oh man, people care enough to leave a review on this thing. Stop it. So thank you for that, those of you who have left reviews. And those of you who are just listening, thank you. And those who have reviewed on other platforms, thank you. But really, it's just I hope that you get something out of listening to my rambling and raving, because I get something out of it, and I don't want this to be a purely selfish endeavor. I want it to provide some kind of value, or even just a little bit of company, and a little bit of oh, I'm not the only one doing this nonsense, as you climb up that mountain and fall flat on your face and roll around on some rocks on accident and slide down a bunch of mud. Also, what is going on with the jiggle physics in Baby Steps? Why is my character so jiggly? I feel like I feel like that has to be addressed. It's very funny. It adds to the humor of it a lot, but it I don't know. I have to comment on it. It's a weird thing to comment on it, but it's a lot. It's very it was a very unexpected element of the game that every time I fall down, my character is just the most jiggly little fella ever. And on that note, that's everything that I've got for you this week. I will see you all in the next one. Until then, get out there, make some stuff, and have fun with it. Bye-bye.